Okay, first I'm saying all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Shemal, Shem, Shukakadash. Okay, Devon says, Apostle and teacher, get Nelson from my line and shoot. Nelson Shalom to the hopeful light of Israel. I'm going to make this quick. Going to center this on so-called white man being the problem in the world. And as the time goes on, as days continue, this becomes more and more evident. With especially the next big technological advancement or integration being AI and all of its auxiliary items such as AI data centers. They have these various chatbots that will acknowledge and come to an actual reasoning that, or come to the conclusion that these, the AI data centers are indeed destructive. Just how destructive our data centers. Just going to skim through. Data centers are a visible backbone of the modern digital world, powering everything from cloud storage to AI training. However, their physical and environmental footprint is massive. When evaluating how destructive they are, the impact is generally broken down in three major categories. And it says here, data centers are an invisible backbone of modern digital world. So you have something that is seemingly good and convenient, being technology. Technology is mighty convenient. It's made life a hell of a lot easier. But with the amount of ease that it's brought an equal amount and greater amount of destruction and pain. For example, you have artificial intelligence, but now you also have artificial intelligence taking a lot of jobs, putting a lot of people out of work. Dancers being another example. These things are needed to run these artificial intelligence and those various aspects of technology and digital world. But as you see here, it consumes a lot of energy. Global electricity share. Data centers currently consume an estimated 1%, 2% of the world's total electricity. The rapid explosion of AI and machine learning require far more computational power than standard cloud storage. Some projections suggest this could climb 8% or more by 2030. Water consumption. This is another big thing, because these centers they need a lot of water in order to keep fucking the computers and technology in there from fucking overheating. Not only that, but not only do they consume water, but they pollute the water that's around it. And once again, on the surface, this is a good thing. You brought technology, but look at that. What's the results of that? This is why we talk, and I'm going to get some scriptures really quickly, but instead of going back and forth, I'm just going to get the few points here and go to that. That's why I'm trying to skim through this, right? But this is why we say so-called white man should not be in rulership, because when we say he doesn't know how to rule, that's an actual fucking thing. He literally does not know how to actually rule. Sure, like you created a society, you have a society, you have a military, you have a government. So now that you have all those things set up, there's a specific way in which you're supposed to order things. There's a specific way you have to do things. You can't just go around and fucking bombing every goddamn body on the earth. You can't go around destroying the environment. You can't go around stealing gold from other countries and stealing other countries. There's going to be long-term ramifications for that. You can't go around polluting the very same land that you need to just so you can feel special and powerful. Meanwhile, the rest of your people suffer because you have an inferiority complex. There's going to be long-term ramifications for that. And you people are now feeling that, going into the debt, Everybody with a brain knows that the whole debt thing, it was going to catch up with everybody. And now it's catching up and everybody is going through absolute fucking hell. It's only going to get worse. You can't build your whole society on fucking debt, on numbers on a computer. Because that's one of the main ways to get rich, is to use debt. Whether it's by getting loans and putting that money into a business, into real estate, into stocks, or whatever the fuck, and multiplying it. But a lot of rich people will get loan on top of motherfucking loan and not pay the shit back. And that's how they make money off of that loaned money. That's one of the ways they get rich by by being able to be loaned millions of dollars and then making millions of dollars on top of that. And then in order to pay off that loan, they'll take out another loan and they'll just build their whole shit off of that. You can't continue that forever in a society. It's not going to work as you currently see. And once again, that's why we say there's a way that you're supposed to rule, and he doesn't fucking know how. That's not just some saying that we say. He literally doesn't fucking know what he's doing. Why? Because once again, sure, you can consider the short term, which is what he's obviously doing, but there's long-term effects of your fucking actions, especially if you're a ruler. Water consumption, cooling is where data centers. We had that with our kingdom as well. When you had niggas in rulership, you had a split with Jeroboam and Rehoboam. You had niggas in rulership, and what happened? Everything went down fucking hill because if I remember correctly, I think it was Jeroboam, which he instituted idol worship. I think it was Jeroboam and Rehoboam. They both got into fucking idol worship, but I think it was Jeroboam that got specifically into idol worship. So they wouldn't follow Rehoboam or the other way around. So the Northern Kingdom would I think it was Rehoboam's. Yeah. But it's either that or the other way around. So got Northern Kingdom into idol worship, so they wouldn't follow Rehoboam. Well, like I said, maybe the other way around. In the short term, it worked, but long term, what happened? Our people ended up going in Syrian captivity, and then the split was right then and there, and then it was just down fucking hill. It says here, water consumption, once again, land use and e-waste. E-waste generation server hardware has a remarkably short lifespan. It only takes 3 to 5 years before it becomes obsolete or inefficient compared to newer technology. This rapid turnover contributes to the global electronic waste crisis. E-waste contains toxic heavy metals, lead, cadmium, and mercury that can leach into soil and groundwater if not recycled responsibly. And what does that end up affecting? That ends up affecting changing your ecosystem to where you have animals that will migrate to other areas. Also, these places have to be cleared out, which can be agricultural areas, but they have to be cleared out for this bullshit. And people will try to say that it's a good thing, but once again, is it really good? It isn't. Because once again, the long-term ramifications of it's not fucking good. This is Sirach 10:8. 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. In due time, he will set up one that is more profitable, which is Yahweh Shai. One that is more profitable. When you think of profit, you think of what? You think of gain. And here within Esau's rulership, you only have loss. The niggas at the top may be gaining, but the entire world is losing. Verse 8, because unrighteous dealings, injuries, riches got by Satan, the kingdom translate from one people to another. And once again, that's how the so-called white man has gotten everything. By deceit, by lying. The money system is a big fucking lie. It's a big trick. Unrighteous dealings and injuries. The so-called white man, he deals unrighteously. He makes treaties and he breaks them. He fucks over everyone. Injuries, the amount of damage and destruction he's done to the people in pursuit of what he possesses now and what he wants to possess. Verse 10, the physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today king tomorrow shall die. And once again, a long disease. When you think of a cancer, what does it do? It eats away. It destroys the body. And that's what this nigga's been doing. He's been destroying the earth and destroying the people. Habakkuk 2:3 or 5. He also, because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who lords his dire hills is death. Cannot be satisfied against all nations, heapeth unto all people. Go up to verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. It says his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. And you go to Psalms 58, this is going to be it. 58 and 3 says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So what, the so-called white man, from the womb, he is not right. And once again, you take a look at the way which he rules. He rules everything by the sword, diplomacy. Ultimately, everything is backed up by weaponry. If you don't do what he says, he'll poison you or he'll bomb you. You know, he'll take your shit at gunpoint. Doesn't matter if you paid off. If you want, like, for example, Venezuela, prime fucking example. They wanted the oil in Venezuela, so they went over there and they fucking took it. And they used the excuse of Venezuela being a shithole to do it. Trump just came out and said that he was stealing millions of gallons worth of oil from Iran. They just took it. And they took shit ton of Bitcoin from over there. They just fucking took it. You can't do that shit and not have long-term ramifications. Just like when you go into Revelations, it's either 17 or 11. 17 to 16. And the 10 horns, which is nailed on the EU, shall sauce upon the beast, shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and burn and eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And why is the NATO and EU going to turn against America? For the example that you've seen this past few years. He put tariffs on his allies. He threw tariffs on every fucking body. Pulled them off, threw them on again, pulled them off, threw them on again. Throwing around his weight and doing whatever the fuck he wants. And then when he called for help with Iran, they told him to go fuck himself. And then when they didn't help him, I forgot what he actually said, but I know one of the things he said was how other than all of their oil goes through that strait, so they're going to have to do something or else they're not going to be getting any resources. Or we'll put tariffs on you if you don't help. He resorted to pretty much I won't say threats. Coercion isn't the right word either, but force is the best word I could think of to try to get all these other nations to help him. And you see all that shit is backfiring and blown up in his fucking face. But once again, this is why we say he's not fit for rulership, because just because you have a bunch of money, Sirach 19 and 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. And what did it say? What did it say? I'm trying to think because I looked up the just regular definition of wisdom and prudence, and if I remember correctly, let me see if I can just find it. So when you go into wisdom, it's the ability, it's various knowledge and experiences that's gained in life. Having that knowledge. But when you go in prudence, it says prudence means being, and there was another definition that actually broke it down to be in a more precise way. But just going off what I remember, it was wisdom was acquiring experience and knowledge in life. But prudence is pretty much being able to decide when to use, like I said, it means being careful about your choices, stopping and thinking before acting. It is a strength of restraint. When you are prudent, you're not taking unnecessary risks or not saying or doing things you might later regret. So pretty much prudence is the skill to be able to use that wisdom, to use foresight, to know, maybe I shouldn't do this right now, or maybe I shouldn't do that right now. Quality being prudent, cautiousness. Says the ability to govern and discipline oneself by use of reason, skill, and good judgment. That's a better way. Skill and good judgment in the management of affairs and use of resources. Caution or circumspection as to danger or risk. So that's the definition they have for prudence. And like what you have going back in the Wisdom of Solomon, 1922. Not Sirach, 1922. Knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. So, Esau has all of this knowledge. He has all these things. But that doesn't mean he's wise. Because take a look at what he's doing. He has all of these things, but what is he doing? He's fucking everything off. Once again, this is why we say he's literally not fit for rulership. Because sure, you have intelligence. You have all these scientific data. You have all of these resources, these artificial intelligence. You can bomb everybody off the fucking map. The strongest nation on the planet. Let me see here. It's nice. Sirach 10:3. 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Once again, through the ability and, to have discretion and discipline, to not take unnecessary risks, to utilize that wisdom properly is what will keep a kingdom going. You have wisdom. Now, you have to figure out a way, how are you supposed to use it? But the so-called white man, once again, the knowledge of wickedness, he has the knowledge to do all these things, but he doesn't know, he doesn't have the knowledge to show restraint. All he knows how to do is to destroy and keep fucking crushing and crushing and crushing without taking into account what the latter effects of his actions. And the long term is infinitely more important than the short term. But Esau, all he can see is now. He can't see later down the road. But that's pretty much it. Hope it made sense. So y'all praise the Lord. Nanti how Shema Shabbat Shema Dash. They want to say others positive teacher, Minister, and shoot. Shall want to hope that Israel instruction battle great America.